Update 38 just dropped earlier today, and in this video we're going to go through all the new stuff and cover all the balance changes to see if we like them or not, as we play a game on the new map Water Park. As you undoubtedly already know, the main part of this update is the new boss phase, which we all get to play on Saturday when the next boss event starts. But there is early access gameplay available on YouTube for those who are eager to see it. There's a new Brickell skin, some trophy store items and new quests. Sadly, these quests all seem to be for complete beginners, looking to learn about basic functions such as the Chinook and learning about heroes such as Brickell and Gwendolyn. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these beginner quests, and that's not just because I'm not a beginner anymore. It's because I'm a man, and we men don't read the instructions. We pretend to know what we're doing, fail miserably, and then learn on our own. Jokes aside, if you were to start playing this game today, would you do all of the quests right off the bat to learn about the different things? I would probably do maybe one or two before I started playing whatever map I wanted on whatever game mode I felt like, and start learning the heroes by reading about their levels in game and by just playing. Now don't get me wrong, I think some of the beginner quests are great, like for example the one that lets you practice races and also the party balloon for practicing bosses. They're great for beginners and also very fun for older players, but the super basic stuff is just too basic for even complete beginners in my opinion. Moving on to some more fun stuff, the new map Water Park. Before even playing the map, I knew I was going to like it. If you don't know, I made a video where I created a tier list and ranked every single map in the game, and also let my viewers vote on every single map in the game to bring forth their top 5 best and worst maps. Then I created a video showcasing what all of you voted for, and also gave a long and detailed talk about what it is that makes a map good or bad, basically a blueprint for map creation. And this map looks like it follows most of the important points I made. I think most people are really going to like the new map we got in this update. And remember that in update 39 we will get a map editor, which I'm really excited for, and by the sounds of it, Ninja Kiwi is too. There has also been some notable game changes. While browsing maps, you not only have a golden and black border, but also a bronze border for completing all easy game modes, and a silver border for completing all the medium game modes. Also, rest in peace regrow farming. Regrow farming has been killed by making sure that bloons that are regrown will not add to the tower's damage count. Farming pops for higher degree Paragons has been a big problem in competitive bossing lately. To place high on the leaderboards, you were often required to regrow farm for hours, which pretty much ruined the experience. So in terms of competitive bossing, this is great, but outside of that, it's also a cool feature that has been removed. Remember the bloons video of Supreme Avocado beating the Elite Vortex on Cornfield without removing any corn? Remember my late game no remove run? There has been some really cool challenges that has utilized regrow farming. And who knows, maybe without it some new cool challenges won't be possible. But on the other hand, the change needed to be made for bossing. And also, it will be kind of nice to know that when doing any other challenge, I won't have to do any regrow farming to be fully optimized. Because don't get me wrong, regrow farming was a really cool trick that allowed for some really cool challenges to be pulled off. But it sure is not a fun thing to sit and regrow farm for hours, so overall I agree with the change. Before we go to the balance changes, let's take a look at some of the tower fixes that has been made. I won't go over all of them, just the ones I found the most interesting. The 4 and 4 monkey knowledge that causes triple dart monkeys to shoot 4 shots instead of 3 every 4th shot now works on the Apex Plasma Master. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this should result in an 8.33% overall DPS buff. The Cripple Moab can no longer debuff the Dread Bloon boss as it is immune to military. The Wizard Paragon's permanent morphability bug has been fixed. The 030 Druid can no longer grab frozen bloons and not pop them. The Monkeyopolis now gives half cash in half cash mode as it should, and the NG Paragon now no longer defaults to throwing out a green sentry when loading back into the game. If you recall, I recently played Ranked Lich Least Tiers and I almost died due to this reason in that video, but now this bug has been fixed and it should always throw out the correct sentry. There has also been a bunch of changes to Conquested Territory, which you can read about in the update notes linked in the description, but now it's time for the balance changes. I will show you every single one, but I will often skip commentating over some of the less interesting changes. First off, the Dart Monkey. The price of the Paragon has been reduced by 25k, while the Boomerang Paragon has been increased by 25k, causing them to switch prices again. And this makes sense, right? I'm not a boss expert, but the Boomerang Paragon has been the meta instead of the Apex for a while now, and the Apex being more expensive don't make much sense. Also, with the 8.33% DPS buff from the Monkey Knowledge, this should even out things a little bit. I still think the Boomerang Paragon will be the meta, but at least it makes things slightly more even, which is good. The Boomerang Monkey now gets even more range from the range upgrade, and the permacharge has a 5-second longer cooldown. I don't really care about the cooldown change, but the range increase I think is cool, and may make it a viable starting tower in a few more situations and maps. The tier 3 top path bomb shooter can now push back balloons on the track, and the tier 4 gets a longer stun and can both stun and push back balloons, while the tier 5 can push back Moab class balloons. The recursive cluster also got its pierce increased again, as they feel they nerfed it a bit too much before. The tag shooter has half a page of balance changes. In short, the tag zone has gotten some extra attack speed, but the pierce has gotten cut in half. The Ring of Fire also got its pierce nerfed, although not by as much. But it was not only the base Ring of Fire that got nerfed, but also the middle cross path that gives extra pierce. The Maelstrom got some pierce cuts too. Also, if you cross path it with the bottom path, you will now get a longer duration on the ability than before, and also the rotation will now be counterclockwise instead. The Ice Monkey got some small nerfs that I don't really care about, and the Glue Gunner's top path got some small nerfs too, as the puddles are no longer able to hit camo by default, and the puddles will only drop from the first child in the split. But more importantly, the bottom path tier 4 upgrade, the Relentless Glue, can now stun blue Moabs and DDTs. Recently, they changed the bottom path tier 4 to be able to stun non-Moab class balloons instead of glue being dropped on the track. This removed a lot of the upgrade's utility late game, so I found myself only getting the tier 3 upgrade or going straight to tier 5. This change will for sure make the tier 4 more useful and not skipped as often. The Elite Sniper now gets its own ability icon space, and using it will trigger all other supply drops from tier 4 middle path snipers, and this is great. If you didn't know, the Elite Sniper has its own ability icon, but if you have a tier 5 and a tier 4, they share the same button. Which of the two icons that will be used, the tier 4 or the tier 5, seems to be random and can change if you back in and out of the game. But now that won't be the case anymore, and also just needing to click one button to use every supply drop ability is a cool feature that I hope they will also choose to implement in the same way for the Druid as well in the future. But the Druid did get some other really cool changes. The Tornado of the top path tier 3 now travels longer and gains homing, so it will follow the balloons on the track. The Superstorm price got reduced by 5k, and the Jungle Bounty Druid got a damage buff and an ability cash bonus increase. The Buccaneer got some minor changes, the Ground Zero got its pierce doubled, and the Helipilot got a nerf to its downdraft, so it won't be as powerful when it comes to blowing back ceramics. The Dartling Gunner got some buffs when you decide to crosspath your balloon exclusion zone with the top path. Will this cause you to get the top path instead of the camo detection and increased attack speed of the middle path? I have not tried this yet, and I don't know much about this crosspath as I've never even tried it, which probably means it needed a buff. The Wizard Monkey got a small price increase to the tier 3 middle path, and also the tier 4 middle path Phoenix now can't see camo by default. You can also micro it again, which I didn't even notice that you couldn't for a while. But more importantly, the Wizard Paragon has now been reworked in terms of how mana works, so hopefully we won't see any mana draining super fast or super slow, so it will be a bit more stable and reliable. The 041 Tech Terror now knocks back any surviving targets by a large amount, which sounds cool. The Monkyopolis base income has been nerfed as it was super OP in the last update, so now it only gives half of what it used to, which, to be honest, still sounds pretty good. The Ninja's top path tier 1 no longer gives the extra range, instead the bottom path tier 1 does that. And the middle path tier 4 upgrade now has a bit more base range, but it can no longer throw the sticky bomb with 50% more range than the range for normal shuriken attacks. This is going to be a noticeable nerf to the tower when it comes to early bossing tiers, as it is commonly used for, but thankfully the tier 5 still has global range for the sticky bombs. And as is tradition at this point, there has been changes made to the permaspike. This time with the goal to make the tower less powerful late game and also to reduce the need for stalling by increasing the start of round buff by a lot. The Carpet of Spikes also got a pierce buff to its main attack. The Beast Handler got a whole bunch of balance changes as well, and these 4 heroes got some small changes too. And lastly, there's been some changes made to Lish and Vortex. Vortex stun is now shorter, but Paragons no longer have the benefit of only receiving a portion of the stun duration, and Lish now trigger the buff drain immediately on spawn, and they also fixed an issue where some one-shot effects could destroy the Lish soul. Let me and Ninja Kiwi know what you love and hate the most about this update down in the comments below, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this quick update overview, and I will see you in my next few videos where we will dive deeper into these balance changes and then try out the new boss on Saturday. See you next time.